Hey guys, oh, Bush here. This is a reply to Herbs and Spices sub-contest, or not sub-contest, just contest. His contest is the best players of the 90s and all the way to current. So we get 23 years worth of basketball. So basically you're going to go through all the teams, plus 3 bonus teams, and you're going to name the top player, plus an honorable mention. Honorable mention doesn't have to be the best player, doesn't have to be the second best player, and just be somebody that embodies that team. When you think of that team, that's who you think of. So I'm going to run with the extra teams first. Let me just make sure that I got them right. Alright, first of all, the Vancouver Grizzlies. One of the worst franchises of all time, by no fault of the Vancouver fans. I honestly think that Vancouver's a great basketball city. Could be a good one. Anyway, I'm going to go top player, Sharif Abdur-Rahim. For those of you that don't know him, look him up. 20 points a game score. Phenomenal small forward, power forward combo player. Had some good years with the Hawks too, but he was probably the best player in franchise history for that particular team. And then I'll also select Damon Stoudemire, Mighty Mouse, as the backup plan to that one. Next is the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets were around for a little while. They obviously moved to New Orleans, but for that team, I'm kind of torn here. I'm tempted to go Larry Johnson on this one. You know, phenomenal player, played with, along with Alonzo Mourning, had some really good runs with those two. Imagine those two at the power forward and center. I'm going to go with Alonzo Mourning, though, as the best player. And honorable mention, I'm going to go with Larry Johnson. And I'm also going to put on, for the honorable mention, Baron Davis, who for better part of 6-7 years was the face of their franchise and really a phenomenal point guard for them. Next is my Seattle Supersonics. I think this is an easy one, personally. Number one, you got to go Gary Payton, best player in franchise history. Then I'm going to go honorable mentions. I'm going to say Nate McMillan, just for what he's contributed between his playing days and his coaching career. And then I'm also going to put up there honorable mention of Sean Kemp and Ray Allen. I'm going to keep Lewis off there, but I think that's enough teams for that. Alright, now we'll start with the rest of the teams that are still actively in the league. I'm going to start off with the Atlanta Hawks. A little bit of a tricky one here. I think that the best player, maybe I can consider Dominique Wilkins. I'm going to go there. 90, 91, 92, phenomenal player. One of the best all-time greats. So I'm going to go there. Maybe a little bit of a cop-out since he really didn't play that long in the 90s with them. But he was also a major contributor in the 80s for the Hawks. And then I'm going to go the new face of the franchise, Josh Smith. Almost got traded, but that guy's been a warrior, and he's just been there for so long. He's been there for 9-10 years now. So I think he definitely deserves the honorable mention slot. I can also slide in Joe Johnson into this spot as well. Another good honorable mention. Hawks had some really lousy years in the 90s, though. Boston Celtics. 90s and 2000s, huh? I'm going to go the guy who's been there for a long time. Face of the franchise, in my opinion, Paul Pierce. The backups I'm going to go, you can throw Kevin Garnett into this mix now. I think he's been there long enough that he definitely deserves a nod. And then I can also throw Larry Bird in there a little bit at the end of his career, but who's counting? Alright, the Charlotte Bobcats. I'm not sure they deserve any choices. You could say Emeka Okafor. Put them on the map. overall, their best player ever, sad to say, probably Kemba Walker. I'm going to go with Kemba Walker. Honorable mentions, we can throw in Gerald Wallace. This might be worse than the Vancouver Grizzlies. Moving on. Chicago Bulls. Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Then number 2, Derrick Rose. Honorable mention with him. And I'll throw in Scottie Pippen in there too. I'm not going to put in Rodman. I don't think he played there long enough. Cleveland Cavaliers. Hands down, bar none, without a doubt, LeBron James. Cleveland fans, eat your heart out. This guy's a beast. He's getting there. I'm just saying. Jordan, watch out. Definitely number 1 overall. Big Z, number 2. Honorable mention I'm going to give to Zydrunas Ilgauskas. And I'm going to throw in Darius Miles in there too. Or, well, not Darius Miles. Larry Hughes. No. Yeah, I don't know. Big Z, honorable mention. We'll stick with that. Dallas Mavericks. I think there's a clear number 1 here. Dirk Nowitzki. Definitely the head of that. Honorable mentions. You could put Tyson Chandler in the conversation. I suppose. Let's see. I'm going to also say Michael Finley deserves a good nod here, as well as Jason Kidd and Steve Nash. But I think Dirk is the number 1 out of that franchise. Denver Nuggets. Carmelo Anthony. Sorry. And number 2, I'm also going to put honorable mentions. Graham, I'll mention him just for the hell of it. LaFonso Ellis. But in all actuality, I think Dikembe Mutombo belongs in that category. Multiplayer Defensive Player of the Year. Detroit Pistons. I'm going to go back to the Bad Boy Pistons, the second round of the Bad Boy Pistons, the defensive stoppers. Big Ben Wallace. I guess you can mention Isaiah in here. He played a while in the 90s. I'll say Isaiah as an honorable mention. But Big Ben Wallace embodied the Pistons' philosophy and led them to championships, and phenomenal player. Also honorable mention, Chauncey Billups, Richard Hamilton. Yeah, we'll go from there. The Golden State Warriors. I'm going to mention, we'll start with Mitch Richmond. Honorable mention, Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin. Go from there. Let's see, the Houston Rockets. I think the clear consensus number 1, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. And then I'm going to put second. Honorable mentions, I'm going to throw in Clyde the Glide Drexler and Charles Barkley. Also, got to go with the honorable mentions, Yao Ming, Tracy McGrady. Those 2 guys as well for the thousands era. But Hakeem overall. Indiana Pacers, Reggie Miller, number 1 by a couple million miles. Pacer franchise really hasn't been all that productive in producing star players. And I'm going to go number 2 overall. A very forgotten guy, Jermaine O'Neal, as an honorable mention. And Danny Granger. We're getting there. We're getting there. LA Clippers. Really rough franchise to pick from here. They had a lot of really horrific draft choices. A lot of really bad teams. Face of the franchise, Chris Paul. I know he's not been there very long, but really, you got anything else? Maybe honorable mentions, Blake Griffin. I really don't like Griffin. Lamar Odom. Michael Olowokandi, the Candyman can. The Lakers. You gotta go, as much as it pains me, Kobe Bryant. But I'm gonna, you know what? I'm not gonna go with Kobe as the number one. I'm going to go with Magic Earvin Johnson. The reason I'm gonna go for that is because when he came back in '92 with the Dream Team and played for the Lakers, that was a worldwide phenomenon. People thought that you were dead because you had HIV or AIDS, and so he was kind of. I think he brought AIDS out of the big bad cloud and brought it to the forefront in a lot of people's minds, and that's why I'm going to choose Magic Johnson for the Lakers. The Memphis Grizzlies. Got to go Pau Gasol there, and I think the number 2, got to go his brother, Marc Gasol, honorable mention. I'm going to stick with Marc Gasol there. Zach Randolph, another honorable mention. Haven't been around for too long. Obviously, they were a transplant from the Vancouver days. Miami Heat. Listen up, everyone. LeBron James. LeBron James. Honorable mention goes to Dwayne Wade and Alonzo Mourning. Big contributions from both of those guys. But LeBron, the guy's incredible. Championship, baby. Coming to Miami again. And probably the following year. They are that good. Milwaukee Bucks. Could throw in a Sidney Moncrief here. Could go Ray Allen. Maybe a little Sam Cassell from the 90s. A little more current. Maybe a Brandon Jennings. I'm going to go Sidney Moncrief. Defensive player. Yeah, we'll go Sidney. Honorable mention, I'm going to throw in Sam Cassell. Great player. Along with the other guys that I mentioned as well. Minnesota Timberwolves. Kevin Garnett, followed by Kevin Garnett and Kevin Garnett. Honorable mentions. K-Love. Okay. Sorry, Kristen. Yeah, I'm going to stick with those. Let's see. New Jersey Nets. Another interesting franchise there. Late 2000 or early 2000s, you had the tandem of Vince Carter and Jason Kidd. That was pretty cool. I feel like my mind's going blank on the Nets here. They had some pretty bad years. They had Stephon Marbury days. That was pretty good. Kerry Kittles. Mention all those guys. I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to say Vince Carter. Although I'm not happy with that. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. The New Orleans Hornets. I haven't been around for a while because of the way this thing's structured. Gotta go with Chris Paul, number 1. Honorable mentions. Jamal Mashburn? Oh, no, that was Charlotte days. Never mind. Anthony Davis? Honorable mention. I haven't been around. Yeah, I'm just going to stick with that. I think I'm getting worse as we're going on. The Knicks, Patrick Ewing. Easy, simple, bada boom, bada bang. Honorable mentions, Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston, Stephon Marbury, Jason Kidd. Well, no, not Kidd. Yeah, I'll stick with those guys. Moving on. Oklahoma City Thunder. Kevin Durant, followed by Kevin Durant. Russell Westbrook, honorable mention. And lump James Harden in there too. Orlando Magic. This was a tough one. I'm going to go with Tracy McGrady. Incredible player in those late 90s, early 2000s. 30-plus points a game, scoring titles. Phenomenal player. Honorable mention, Shaquille the Big Diesel O'Neal. I hope I mentioned him for the Lakers, but anyway. Shaquille the Big Diesel O'Neal. Anthony Hardaway, a lump in there. Dwight Howard. Philadelphia 76ers. Allen Iverson. Honorable mention goes to Sir Charles Barkley. Dikembe Mutombo, throw him in there too. Phoenix Suns, again. Sir Charles Barkley can belong in that honorable mention. category, or he could also be the forefront, but I'm going to choose Steve Nash as the #1 player for that particular group. Portland Trail Blazers. Again, another team that's closer to my heart. I'm going to go with Clyde the Glide Drexler. And then honorable mentions goes to Scottie Pippen, Brandon Roy, and the L-Train LaMarcus Aldridge. Sacramento Kings. Chris Webber. Probably got to go #1 there. Honorable mention, Peja Stojakovic and Vlade Divac. San Antonio Spurs. #1, Tim Duncan. #2, David Robinson. Probably the easiest out of that. There's not a lot that can compete with those two. Tony Parker, maybe? I'd still take Duncan and Robinson from those particular eras. I think they were more vital to the success of the Spurs. Toronto Raptors, #1, Vince Carter. I know a lot of you were expecting me to go Bosch there, but Vince Carter, the 90s and the early 2000s, he was the show. I mean, you sat down and watched the Raptors because you wanted to see Vince Carter. People paid a premium to come watch Vince Carter, where guys don't pay a premium to go see Chris Bosh. You go and see Vince Carter. Maybe Bosh was a better player for them because of his defense, but still Vince Carter because of that offensive show that he was. He was that part of the franchise. Utah Jazz. I'm going to cop out here and say just give you 2 #1s. I'm not going to give you any honorable mentions. In no order, Karl Malone and John Stockton. Too hard to tell the difference between those two. So important to their franchise. Incredible to watch play together. Absolute privilege. Washington Wizards. They had Jerry Stackhouse, a solid player. They also had a man by the name of Michael Jordan. Also was actually probably their best player, Michael Jordan. And honorable mention goes to Stackhouse. I'll also lump Larry Hughes in there. And I'll also put in Gilbert Arenas, another guy that belongs in the conversation. So that's it. That's my list of the best players in the 90s and all the way to current. Probably forgot a bunch of players, but so what? My list, my rules. Anyway, Herbie, thanks for the contest, and I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing these videos too. Should be pretty cool. Talk to you guys later. See ya.